Week marks 1 year since the mass shooting in Highland Park killed 7 people and left dozens injured. The city is hoping to pave a path forward this year as the community continues their journey to heal while grappling with their trauma. Joining us now is Bruce Shapiro, the Executive Director, Dart Center for Journalism, and Trauma Adjunct Professor and Senior Advisor for Academic Affairs. Bruce, I had the pleasure of meeting you last week in Orlando, Florida, where you spoke on a panel for the annual Investigative Reporters and Editors Conference. You talked about Uvalde and the lives taken there and the trauma that follows. Now that we are coming up on the 1-year mark here for the lives taken in Highland Park, there are a lot of painful memories. The Dart Center originally compiled a style guide in 2020-21 that you describe as a living document on how to report on trauma. What is the guide comprised of, Bruce?
Well, it really collects almost 25 years of wisdom from journalists, from clinicians, from researchers, from survivors of violence and crisis and tragedy, from advocates. Really, it is an attempt to try to help the profession of journalism do an effective, ethical job of reporting on the most difficult events people go through, whether that is gun violence, mass shootings, which the Dart Center has been very involved with going all the way back to the days of Columbine, but also disasters, climate change, war, forced migration. All of these issues test our society, test the profession of journalism, and we need to make sure that, A, journalists have in their toolkit an understanding of what survivors are going through, an understanding of the science of trauma, the nature of psychological injury and recovery, the impact of violence on individuals, families, and communities. But also, frankly, we need to help journalists take care of themselves. These are extraordinarily difficult events to cover. The Highland Park shooting involved folks like yourself who are Chicago residents, many of them, some of the journalists there themselves, Highland Park residents. It takes a toll. Repeated gun violence takes a toll on the journalists who cover it. So we're really looking at both sides of the equation, how to cover stories responsibly, effectively, ethically, compassionately, and also how to keep doing that job in a way that doesn't cause journalists to burn out.
Bruce, it certainly does take its toll. I can tell you firsthand. I've done so many stories and interviewed so many people, victims of trauma, tragedies, young and old. How can journalists also learn from our audiences, from people who have directly experienced trauma?
Well, I think it's very important, actually. I think every journalist, whatever our beat or medium, needs in our toolkit a basic understanding of the psychology of trauma and ways of listening receptively to communities. You wouldn't send a reporter to cover a football game who doesn't know what the rules are, yet for generations reporters have been sent to knock on the doors of murder victims without any special knowledge. So first of all, just building some knowledge. But secondly, and particularly thinking about, Chicago's neighbors in Highland Park coming up on this anniversary, the survivors, the witnesses, the community affected by that. It's important to know that there's a huge diversity in people's responses, in the impact of events on survivors. Some people probably are on what looks and feels like a kind of challenging but smooth arc of recovery, are feeling better than a year ago. Some people are having a really hard time. Some people, it may be catching up with all of a sudden or will go up and down. And as journalists tell the story of this anniversary, and as news consumers, as we think about this anniversary and listen to these stories, we need to recognize that the needs of survivors and the needs of communities are actually quite diverse. We can't be trying to tie it up with a bow and hope there will just be recovery and closure. One of the reasons that gun violence is such an urgent issue is that it's layering trauma upon trauma upon trauma. At the Parkland shooting in Florida, there were kids who had been small children at the Sandy Hook in Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut a decade earlier. There's sometimes a literal, direct double impact of these things. But really, it's whether it's mass shootings or individual gun violence, it's trauma layered upon trauma layered upon trauma. And we need to recognize that that means there's huge diversity
Bruce,
of experiences.
Bruce, although trauma has always existed, the word itself has become more popular.
Yeah.
How has the understanding of trauma shifted and evolved as we seem to keep reporting on more traumatic events?
Well, it's important to remember that, of course, trauma has entered the popular lexicon, and we use it for everything from, sometimes casually, from everything from war to losing your wallet. But really what we mean here is something very serious, which is psychological injury, events coming from the outside that people aren't looking for and asking for, that overwhelm people's normal resilience, their normal capacity to cope and recover and alter them in profound ways. The understanding of trauma has been shaped by now 2 generations of profound, in-depth science, looking at everything from the neuroscience at the molecular level of how people's brains, how their biology is affected, to how our sense of meaning is affected, to how we connect with one another. Scientists now understand trauma as a biopsychosocial injury, affecting us at a physical level, at how we make meaning of the world and society, and how we connect to other human beings. It can disrupt people on all 3 of those levels. And as a society, we need to understand that if we're really going to come to grips with the impact of gun violence in our society.
Particularly, Bruce, when we're talking about children who have suffered these types of traumas, how does the child's brain react differently to the trauma and as they carry it with them as they grow older? What happens? What's the difference with the children?
Well, it's important to remember that children's brains are still developing. And there's an awful lot of evidence that an overwhelming load of trauma or violence in early childhood or indeed in young adulthood is associated with a bunch of challenging outcomes. There's a lot of understanding now of adverse childhood experiences, which is a fancy way of saying that lots of trauma, lots of overwhelming events in childhood can have negative impact on education, can have negative impact on employability, can lead to bad health outcomes across the lifespan. The exposure of children to violence is something we need to take seriously. Now, that doesn't mean children who are exposed to violence are doomed, are fated to be a wounded generation. It does mean, though, that we need to understand that as a society, we are going to be absorbing and paying for the impact of trauma in children who witness it, who experience it, who survive it, or who are dealing with catastrophic loss. One way or another, we're going to pay for this as a society.
Bruce Shapiro, always a pleasure to talk to you, hear from you. We thank you for what you do and the education you provide, the training you provide. Executive Director of the Dart Center for Journalism and Trauma. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Dave. Great to be here.